This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
I heard you've been looking for me, but you look for trouble. You're gonna see that your words are dangerous. Your talk is cheap. So now I'm standing here. You tell yourself you know what to do when you realize that I am coming for you. Then you'll change your mind and run like a child when you see me standing here. Now I'm standing here. Don't question my heart. Don't question the fire that burns inside.
Place to Be Nation, welcome back to another episode of Extreme Resurrection. I am your host, James Gruenberg, and alongside me, as always, is Steve Riddle. Steve, how are you doing tonight?
Well, doing okay. As I said before we kind of started here, right as we're about to record, of course, my internet decided to give me the old middle finger, so I'm having to do this off my phone. But no matter what happens, we don't stop here with these doing these shows.
No, we have another set pack of shows here. Last time we were on, CM Punk was getting ready to fight a surprise entrant in the Elimination Chase. Now it was Big Daddy V, and I watched the No Mercy match between Big Daddy V and CM Punk, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. They weren't ready to take the ECW title off of Punk, and they weren't ready to, beat Big Daddy V cleanly, or Big Daddy V was ready to wasn't ready to put over anybody. So Matt Striker came in and interfered on V's half and caused the disqualification. So CM Punk retains by disqualification at No Mercy. What were your thoughts on the match? Even if you didn't see it, you had to know that it wasn't gonna be a clean finish.
No, it just made, I don't know, just made Punk look like really, really weak. I mean, the match barely goes 90 seconds. And they're like, V obviously dominated most of it. Then Punk like a little comeback there, hits a missile drop kick, and then all of a sudden Striker causes the DQ. I mean, it didn't really make either guy look that good. Didn't make Punk look good because he obviously didn't win clean. Didn't make V look good either because, I mean, he's having to get saved by his manager when he really wasn't even that much of trouble. And then they had Punk get beaten down at the end anyway. I mean, the show was in his hometown of Chicago, and they just made him look like an absolute weakling. Coming off, when you think about, the month prior, we had that, really good win over Elijah Burke to retain the title. Now here, it's like they just completely made him look like an absolute putz.
They just didn't really know what to do. They got themselves backed up into a corner, and it seemed like this was the only way to get out, But we'll see what happens here as we get into these ECW episodes. We are live here tonight in Detroit, Michigan. This is ECW October 9th, 2007. We get highlights of CM Punk versus Big Daddy V at No Mercy. Then we go right into the matches. It's Big Daddy V versus Tommy Dreamer. Headbutts to Tommy. V crushes Tommy with his foot. V slams Tommy to the ground. A big elbow drop for the win. I went a star. Tommy again looks like he got no offense in. And Big Daddy V wins another squash match, basically. So he's in the ECW title match, and now we go back to just squashing opponents here. So I went 1 star.
Yeah, I went 3/4 of a star. It was, again, just like you said, a basic squash. Dreamer, got a couple shots in, but for the most part, he does put V over. I guess it gets, reestablishes V as a monster after that weak showing at No Mercy. That he's still probably going to be in the title picture at this point. And again, just Dreamer continuing to his little run here of just putting guys over.
Yeah, so Dreamer again, he puts every like new guy on ECW, in, even though we know like what V is capable of already, but it's like, now what are they going to do with V here? He's back to just squashing everybody. So we'll see what happens. Kevin Thorne has a match now. His opponent is named James Curtis. Punches to Curtis, a drop kick by Curtis, clothesline by Thorne. Thorne throws Curtis into the ring post. Thorne counters into a backbreaker and an original sin for the win. For this match, I want to start in a quarter, actually. I went a little bit higher on this one. This matchup wasn't a squash. They let this guy, Curtis, have a couple of nice little punches and a little bit of offense here, but then Thorne gets the win here as well. So I actually want to start in a quarter.
Yeah, I would have a star. It wasn't that good. When I saw Curtis, I was like, he looked very familiar, and I looked it up, and it's he, of course, is the former Casey James, who a year ago was challenging for the SmackDown Tag Titles. He and Idol Stevens, who of course would be the future Damien Sandow. So he's not really been doing much as of late. So he comes here, and again, just Thorne just, he looks good with some things, but just other things just don't look that good. And the one point where he tries to get Curtis on his shoulders, but he ends up, he loses his grip and drops him. Curtis is lucky he didn't land it right on his head, because that would have been really nasty. That would have been really bad. And then Thorne finishes him off with the original sin. Again, just Thorne now, again, just has no direction whatsoever. Like, we're not sure where we're going with him. He's just, very rudderless, and, at a time again when we can use another potential challenger for Punk in the title, they just don't seem to want to move Thorne into that position. They're just kind of leaving him to kind of like just kind of blowing the wind just randomly.
Yeah. Again, you got no opponents, no heels, and don't know what to do with the guys you are trying to establish as heels.
Mm-mm.
So now we have highlights of Balls Mahoney asking out Kelly, only for The Miz to come out and say that he owns the contracts of Extreme Expose. So that means he owns all three of the women's contracts. Layla, oh crap, who's the oh crap! It's Kelly, Layla, and Brooke. Yeah, Brooke. I stuttered on that one. I was like, "Who's the third one?" I was like, "Yeah, it's Brooke," because you really don't see a lot from Brooke. It's more about Kelly and Layla and The Miz now. Like, Brooke just seems like to be like the random one who's in this little triangle here. But as said, The Miz owns the contract. So if Balls Mahoney would have gotten a date with Kelly would have been fired, as The Miz would have seen to it. Miz asks what Kelly sees in Balls Mahoney, and now we have a match between the two. It's Balls Mahoney versus The Miz. Takedown by Balls. Miz slams Balls into the turnbuckle. Clotheslines to Miz. Balls does his signature punches. Miz pushes Balls into the announcer's table, and then The Miz wins by countout. For this matchup, I want a star. It was all right, but a little weird with just the countout finish. And then as you see, like, Balls is like bleeding from his lip. He took a really hard, nasty fall into the announcer's table, and then The Miz punts Kelly's teddy bear into the crowd.
Yeah, I want to start as well, and like you said, we don't forget the fact we didn't see Brooke. We don't even see Layla here. It's just Kelly that comes out here with Miz. So I'm not sure really what's going on there with Extreme Expose. This thing has been going on between these two guys since late August. So how many times have they faced each other? And I don't think Balls has gotten one win yet over Miz. I think Miz has pretty much beaten him decisively a couple of times, and now all of a sudden here they do the count out finish, which again just makes no sense. Balls definitely got his mouth busted open pretty bad there, hitting that table. And then finally, we've been waiting. I've been kind of waiting to see when he would do it, but Miz finally kind of punched the teddy bear into the crowd. He got some good distance on it too. So kudos to, I don't know if Miz played like football or soccer at one point when he was little, because he got some good distance with that. I mean, that's not a small bear either. So he definitely got some good distance there. But again, it's like we keep going back and forth here with Miz and Balls and Kelly, and it's just like, when are we finally, like I said, it's been going on for since late August. It's like, when are we finally going to get some final payoff here between these two? Because you think at some point the obvious end game is going to be they face off for Kelly's freedom. So it's like, let's get to that at some point. Let's kind of move past this thing, because it's clear. I mean, we'll see as we go through here that they kind of have some good big things planned for Miz. So it's kind of let's get him out of this thing. Finally get them out of this thing and just kind of move on from it.
Yeah, and we'll see the Miz go into like a different direction away from Balls Mahoney in our next episode as we cover here. We have a return. Well, we have a return. But actually, let me ask you this first: who had the better kick, Snitsky and Lita's baby, or the Miz and the teddy bear?
Well, I mean, Snitsky had more height on his, because he obviously had a baby doll, which is a lot smaller, whereas I think Miz got more distance on his. So, and plus Miz, obviously he had a teddy bear, which is soft and plush, whereas I'm sure Snitsky hitting that plastic baby probably didn't feel good on his foot. So I think maybe Miz kind of took it there on that one.
Yep. So now we have highlights of John Morrison. He's returning to ECW after serving his 30-day suspension from the pharmacist list of patients, that whole ordeal. But they really... They don't even say, like, give him, like, one of those, like, screens where it's like, oh, the return of John Morrison here tonight. They're just like, oh, we have highlights of John Morrison. And then we have highlights of Monday Night Raw. I definitely think that they could have made a little bit of a bigger deal about the return of John Morrison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've been, you can definitely tell his presence has been missed here on ECW, just because he does bring some good star power. Regardless of what you think of his of him being given the ECW title when he was brought some good star power to that brand. So I think he was definitely missed this last month, and it is good to have him back.
Yep. But again, like, it's just like hushed up, it's like, oh, John Morrison's back. It's like he never left. It's like, yeah, he left for a whole month, and like they give him like no, the return of John Morrison here tonight. And then we have highlights of Monday Night Raw where they're going over, match stipulations between Triple H and Umaga, because Cyber Sunday is just right around the corner. And next week we'll figure out who CM Punk's 3 opponents are for the ECW title as well. They said they would announce that the following Wednesday after this ECW show here. So it's like Triple H versus Umaga. It'll be like a last man standing match, a cage match, or a street fight, basically. And like, as Vince is like talking about this poor jobber basically gets destroyed. Actually, it's a first blood match. Never mind. One of the options, and the poor jobber gets destroyed each time for the different stipulation. And then we see that Randy Orton will have a new opponent for him, as it'll be, I believe it's like Shawn Michaels, Mr. Kennedy, and Jeff Hardy, who's going to take on Orton for the WWE title at Cyber Sunday as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that was the big thing. I think they did like the whole because remember No Mercy, they had like the 3 title matches, because since Cena had to be stripped of the title due to his injury, Vince first awarded it to Orton. then Triple H would beat Orton in a regular match, and then at the end of the night, Orton beat Triple H in the last man standing to become champion. And they were going to do that whole big coronation ceremony for Orton. That's when Shawn made his return. He's been gone since the spring, so clearly setting up him to be Orton's next big challenger. So you kind of figured Shawn was definitely the odds-on favorite to win that vote. Even though I'm sure probably many fans would like to see Jeff also get a chance to finally step up. Though you knew Kennedy definitely had the longest odds of the three to win that vote.
Yep. So then now we have our main event here. It is the returning John Morrison versus CM Punk. Kicks to Morrison. Morrison goes for Punk's ribs. Drop kick to Morrison's head. Flying clothesline to the outside by Punk. Morrison slams Punk into the stairs. Morrison slingshots a kick right into Punk's ribs. So Morrison is basically targeting the ribs that Big Daddy V had destroyed last night here as well. So it's a good advantage on Morrison here. Then we have Punk going into the stairs. Punk slingshot kick into the ribs. Knees to Punk. A springboard drop kick by Punk. Clothesline to Morrison, bulldog to Morrison, spinning heel kick by Morrison, and then like a spinning side kick to Punk, and then a suplex to Punk for the win. For this matchup, I went 2 stars. I was actually surprised that Morrison got the win here, but it was good that he did because it is his return here to the land of Extreme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually went 3 stars. I actually thought it was a pretty good match. Obviously, like you said, Punk comes out with the taped ribs, still feeling the effects from the match on Sunday. And, say what you will, these two guys, their pay-per-view matches, back over the summer may not have been, lighting the world on fire, but they definitely have, they had some good TV stuff. And we think back to about a month ago when Punk won the title from Morrison, how that was a pretty good match. And, of course, that was right before Morrison had to go serve suspension. And now Morrison, again, is back and immediately just, pick up right where they left off. And, again, they gave him a lot of time on the show. Almost 14 and a half minutes. And, Morrison did a really good job kind of targeting the ribs, making that the focal point of the match. Some really nasty, bumps there. I think the suplex he gives Punk on the steps looked really good. Punk making his good spirited comeback, and kind of a shock, the Morrison winning clean, but a nice finish there with that inverted superplex. Kind of a cool little finish there for Morrison to get the win, because again, Punk couldn't obviously have the injured ribs, so Morrison was able to take advantage of it. So again, really nice win for Morrison. Kind of interesting that two kind of back to back tough losses for Punk. The No Mercy match he didn't lose, he won by DQ, but kind of he lost in the end because he got assaulted by Big Daddy V, and now he jobs here to clean to Morrison in his return. So right off the bat, you've already got now 2 viable contenders potentially to be amongst the choices for Punk's next title defense at Cyber Sunday with V and Morrison. And now it comes down to just who they're going to finally put in that third spot there.
Yeah, and again, it was good on Morrison to get a return win, and we'll see where it goes here as well. As we get into our next episode, ECW, October 16th, and we are live at the United Kingdom. So here are the Cyber Sunday selections for CM Punk as he defends his ECW title at Cyber Sunday. It's going to be The Miz, Big Daddy V, and John Morrison. So the fans will get to decide who's going to get the title shot there for Cyber Sunday. It is 2 weeks away now. And Morrison comes out. Morrison says the fans will vote for him to face Punk at Cyber Sunday. He shows a recap of last week defeating Punk. Miz comes out. Miz says he gets more girls than Morrison. Morrison says he's bigger than the Beatles and anyone in ECW. and anyone in ECW. How comes Big Daddy V, Stryker says V is the most dominant force in ECW? Before I move on, what did you think of these segments by all three potential contenders?
Oh, it was fine. I mean, it's basic stuff. Each guy, trying to kind of plead their case as to why they deserve to be to receive the fan vote. I mean, it's kind of interesting. We have three heels, trying to vie for a fan vote. So each one just again trying to kind of stake their claim into why they deserve the title shot. And if you're kind of thinking about all three, I mean, you had to think, even though he was the underdog, that Miz might be, one that might get most of the vote because he's the only one out of the three that has not had a title shot against Punk. So if they were looking for something different, maybe they go with him. They knew that Morrison and Punk have had good matches before, so they know they got to get that. V, I think, is probably at this point the one that's got the least odds, the worst odds of winning, because especially after that, the debacle we saw on No Mercy, I don't think a lot of people were clamoring to see that again. So, but yeah, again, just basic stuff here. Each guy kind of, like I said, pleading their case as to why they should get the vote.
Mm-hmm. And then CM Punk then comes out. He says all three of them make a valid point. Punk says he can pick anyone as his tag team partner for a 3-on-2 handicap match. But he also says that it doesn't have to be an ECW superstar, and out comes Kane. So it's going to be CM Punk and Kane versus the Miz Morrison and Big Daddy V. I thought this was a very good, very fun surprise here because you obviously, I think everyone knew that SmackDown and ECW were touring together most of the time during the house show loops, and ECW always came either right before the SmackDown taping or after the SmackDown taping as well. So I thought it was good that they just were like, you know what, since they're here already, let's make the fans like sort of happy in the United Kingdom, and let's give them a show. So we have Kane being CM Punk's partner.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, to this point, I mean, they've been doing the ECW and SmackDowns together. They tape ECW first and then they tape SmackDown, so it made sense. And plus, again, we've been talking about it, ad nauseum about how the roster on ECW is pretty thin. So maybe having some of the SmackDown stars come over there can help give them a little bit of a jolt of energy. Plus, it also kind of gives SmackDown guys, if they're not doing anything on that show, gives them something to do and gets them some more TV time on ECW. So again, not the worst thing in the world to kind of have the two brands come together and exchange talent. And Kane's a guy that's he's not really have much going on at this point, so throw him over there. And plus, at that point now, you kind of put him in kind of a little mini feud there with Big Daddy V over like who the bigger monster is.
So Morrison starts off. He works on Punk's ribs. Monkey flip by Punk, tag to Kane, leg drop to Morrison. Kane works on Morrison, front flip by Punk. Miz tags in, kicks to Punk. V tags in. V slams Punk. Boston Crab to Morrison. Knees to Punk's ribs by Miz. Miz clotheslines Punk to the outside. Punk tags in Kane. A big boot to Morrison. A clothesline and a sidewalk slam to Kane. Diving clothesline to Morrison. V clotheslines Kane. Kane catches the Miz. Clothesline to Morrison to the outside by Punk. And a choke slam to the Miz for the win. For this matchup, I went 2 3/4. I thought it was a very good opening here.
Yeah, I went 2 3/4 as well. Again, these guys get a good amount of time, almost 15 minutes, and they really make the most of it. Punk does the great face in peril as he's kind of taking a beating, mainly from Miz and Morrison. They're kind of doing all the heavy lifting, and then V coming in for the big spots. You get the good hot tag to Kane. He kind of cleans house, and then we get, like I said, the showdown with him and V. That I think everyone was expecting, and then V kind of takes control at first, but then Kane gets the last word. And then the little misdirect there with Miz and Morrison colliding, leading to Kane getting the pin on Miz for the win. So pretty good opener there. Again, when you have these like good solid matches on ECW, they're always going to be really good to see. And I think Punk and Kane have a pretty good little chemistry as a team. We'll kind of see going forward if they move forward with it, because like I said, we'll see if this was just a one-off year for Kane or if he becomes kind of a more permanent fixture on the brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For now, it just seems like he's just a borrowed talent, but we'll see if he decides to make the jump over to ECW to give a little spark. Backstage, the Miz and Morrison are arguing, and then Morrison challenges Miz, and then Miz punches Morrison and accepts his challenge. Then we have a recap of the Miz being Balls Mahoney. We have the Miz being Balls Mahoney and punting the teddy bear. Ball says it's not right that Miz owns Extreme Expose. Then Kelly comes out and asks Balls Mahoney out on a date. And then Balls Mahoney says yes. So we'll see where this finally goes. And will Balls Mahoney finally get a date with Kelly?
Yeah, that was interesting. But the nice little before that, like I said, the little back and forth of Miz and Morrison. Miz actually caught him with a nice punch. So good for him. And then, like you said, Balls. Now Kelly's the one that asked Balls on a date, and you're probably thinking. I'm sure most of the thing is like, well, wait, I thought Kelly couldn't, ask. I thought they couldn't, do anything because Kelly was, under Miz's thumb. But I guess maybe they use the excuse that since Miz is so focused on this issue with Punk, Morrison, and V, that he's not paying attention, and that allowed Kelly to kind of get with Balls. So we'll see what happens with this if it does go anywhere.
Yep. So now we have Armando Estrada and Vicky Guerrero. They're backstage. Jesse and Festus come in and can't wait to compete on ECW. So it's a little talent exchange between the two as Armando Estrada gets Kane as a tag team partner for Punk, and then also he gets Jesse and Festus versus Elijah Burke and Nunzio here. And then Vicky Guerrero hopes that Armando Estrada will pass some of his ECW roster talent over to SmackDown as well. So like I said, it's going to be Nunzio and Elijah Burke versus Jesse and Festus. Burke tags Nunzio, backdrop by Jesse, tag to Burke, shots by Burke to Jesse, drop kick by Nunzio, tag to Festus, big boot to Nunzio, shoulder block by Jesse to Nunzio for the win. So it's like Burke just gets, he doesn't want nothing to do with Jesse or Festus. Like he gets sort of like startled a little bit. And he's just like, nope, I'm not doing this. And then so Nunzio takes all the bumps here and takes the pin by Jesse and Festus. For this matchup, I want a 1.5. It was okay, but it's weird to see Burke losing in a tag team match with Nunzio versus Jesse and Festus. What were your thoughts on this one?
Well, I'm going to start. I thought it was fine. I've always thought Jesse and Festus were a very underrated team. They've always have good chemistry. Obviously, you have the interesting gimmick there of Festus, where he's like in this docile states, except when the bell rings and he becomes unhinged. Kind of interesting when you look at Festus, knowing that that's going to be the future Luke Gallows of the OC. Kind of crazy to think about that, but I always liked them as a team. I always thought they had good chemistry. And they look, pretty good here. I like their kind of, back, double teams, and especially that the finish, their little rocket launcher finish. I always thought was a nice little finish there. It's weird. I mean, Burke has been one of the top heels of the brand, for the majority of the year. He's had some good stuff with Punk. He's had a couple of title shots. Now all of a sudden, he's nowhere in the title picture. I mean, he's completely been left behind. and it's just kind of seeing him slumming in this like random tag match. I mean, obviously, like you said, he doesn't do much, and then at the end, he walks out and leaves Nunzio to get kind of swallowed up there by Justin Festus. But you kind of wondering, is Burke kind of falling into the same predicament that that Thorne's fallen in, where we have nothing for him. He's kind of just floating aimlessly now. He's had his chances. He's kind of failed at them. Now they're kind of not sure. They're just kind of lost. Or don't have anything for him anymore. It's just it's unfortunate because he is really good. He's good in the ring. He's good on the mic, and he's definitely above this. So it's like, even if you don't want him, if you kind of want him out of the title picture for a bit, and that kind of a couple of other guys take over, like Morrison, Miz, and V, that's fine. But don't throw him in a match. Don't throw him something like this. You're telling me there's like no other bum on ECW that you could have had here with Nunzio? Just really, really weird. It's just so out of place for Burke. Hopefully this isn't the start of something. Start of a downslide for him. Maybe it's just like just kind of a one-off, and he gets back on track here going forward. But yeah, just again, really weird decision.
Yeah, I mean, throw Stevie Richards out there or something,
Yeah, or what about Mike Knox? He's not doing anything at this point, so
Yeah, a weird decision here, but we'll see where Burke, if Burke bounces back from this one here. And now we have our main event. It is the Miz and the Miz versus John Morrison. Both guys brawl, punches to the Miz, clothesline to Morrison, buzzsaw kick by Morrison. Miz counters a suplex to a crossbody. Then V comes down, a Samoan drop, and a sidewalk slam to Miz. So he Samoan drops Morrison, and then he does a sidewalk slam to Miz. So I gave the match a quarter star. Well, obviously, we didn't see who was going to win between the Miz and Morrison, but V claimed his stake that he should be the one to face Punk at Cyber Sunday by just demolishing Miz and Morrison here.
Yeah, I did give it a star. I mean, you knew that they weren't, given how much time was left when they came out, that they weren't going to get a long match, especially after they had already wrestled earlier. Again, just kind of basic back and forth. And again, you were just basically waiting until V came out to kind of take both guys out. So again, just kind of these basic stuff there to kind of close the show, and with V standing tall as he looks to, as again all three basically again look to make their case to get those get the votes from the fans to get that title shot.
Yeah, so we'll see on our next episode what they do for the go home edition of ECW before Cyber Sunday. Will they have to state their I mean, I feel like they're gonna all come out and state their claims, or it's gonna be Punk versus all three of them. Who really knows what's gonna happen here? But that's gonna do it from us on Extreme Resurrection. But before we go, Steve, do you have anything that you want to direct the listeners to?
Yeah, you can usually find me over on the PTB Pop Experience. I got my usual shows over there. The Video Jukebox Song of the Day, Making Mount Rushmore, and Pop Goes the Classics. So keep an eye on those. I do occasionally also appear over on the North-South Connection, on Cronoso. So again, be sure to follow that stuff. Follow those, all those pods, and also I do want to call out our good friends over at the Backbone Wrestling feed. They've been going now for about a month or 2 months now, so they're going really strong over there. So be sure to go give those guys some love as well. And of course, you can usually find me over on the PTB Facebook group, where we have our current tournament going on, where we are determining the greatest cartoon of all time. As of this recording, we are currently in the first round now, so we got some good matchups coming up. We've already had, haven't had too many upsets thus far since the first round started, but I'm interested to see how things play out as we continue going forward, and as we do determine the greatest cartoon of all time.
Yeah, I always enjoy the votes, and I always end up, picking the cartoon that I really like the most every day. So I hope all the nation listeners get out their votes, see what is the number one cartoon of all time. As for me, you can find me usually on the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed. I have this show, and I have Nation Invasion, where our last episode, me and Tim Taylor, we discussed Raw and SmackDown, where Stone Cold threw Kurt Angle's medals off of the Detroit Bridge, and the Hurricane became European champion. And a lot more stuff going on as we head into Unforgiven as well. So be sure to check that out as well. So, well, that's going to do it from us here on Extreme Resurrection. I'm James Gruenberg. He's Steve Riddle, and we will see you next time.